Welcome to the SDA Housing Podcast, brought to you by NDIS Property Australia. Before starting this episode, we need to provide a general disclaimer. Information contained in this podcast is general in nature only. It does not take into account the objectives, financial situation, or needs of any particular person. You need to consider your financial situation and needs before making any decisions based on the information in this podcast. And you should consider seeking independent and professional advice for your personal circumstances. All right, let's begin.
Hello, everybody. My name is Min, and I'm your co-host from NDIS Property Australia. And you're listening to the SDA Housing Podcast. Australia explains, highlights, guides, and brings awareness about all things SDA in this ever-changing NDIS world. With me today is my co-host, Ian. Ian, how are you?
I'm pretty good, Min. How are you today?
Good. Ian, what's our topic of today's podcast?
How do we vet the advisor in SDA?
How to vet the SDA advisor. That's a good topic. Why are we talking about this topic? Well, given the market and the sentiment, why is this topic an important topic today in this podcast?
I guess because the opportunity is still there. It's still live. There's still so many opportunities to get it right. But if you start off with the most fundamental part, which is your advisor, and get that wrong, you're going down a completely wrong path. And it's very difficult to correct that.
Yeah. And the advisor, Ian, could be an agent, could be a provider, could be
a spruiker,
a third party, whoever you listen to, they're still advising you on doing SDA. So, I've got a few points here. Let me read them out very quickly, Ian. We'll go through them one by one slowly. So, number 1, office presence. 2, social media. 3, reviews online. 4, transparency of stock or pipeline or portfolio. 6 is understanding the SDA funding and approvals process. 7, providers network. And 8, data reports. Ian, which one should you start off with first?
Well, look, as we both know, if somebody wants to come and visit us, guess what they can do? They can pop into our offices in Wollongabba or South Bank, and they can come in and see us anytime they like, and we can show them around the office and get them to meet the team. How many other organizations can do that? And if they can't do that, why can't they do that?
Ian, I reckon a lot of SDA businesses who are claimed to be SDA experts, they don't have their doors open and available for people to come in and talk to them, meet them, and greet them. See if they're real. I don't see a lot of people that they do have this service office.
Big service office, and it's so easy to work out whether they've got a service office. You look up the address of that office and you see if any other business is actually attached to the same office. It's very easy. Or you do a Google search and you see exactly where it is.
Yes. Other than that, social media presence, online presence.
Yeah, somewhere where somebody is this forum, it's this public square where you can actually go there and you can say, this is what I think, and this is my impression. This is how I've been treated by this organization. Social media presence is essential, but obviously you can be very careful, and you can definitely do things to social media to prevent all the truthful reviews coming out. So again, be wary of that.
Yes. Look at Google reviews, look at Facebook, look at their website particularly, and I've seen some of our competitors with lacking much content or anything on their website, to show them that they are really seriously into SDA. They're just a fluffy comment here and there, and they think they can actually be involved in the NDIS world. But really, the truth be told, what are they really doing? So looking at one's website, look at someone's LinkedIn account, Facebook, Instagram, social media. It gives a big glimpse of who they are as a business. And, if you're parting with a lot of money, Ian, as you will agree, before you give anyone a lot of money, you should really see who they are first, yeah?
Thing is, it's quite difficult when people are overwhelmed by so much information and so many adverts bombarding them. And there's always this sense of urgency, which there is, but within that sense of urgency, don't be afraid to actually do a little bit more of that research and that vetting that's essential to help you work out whether the provider really is an expert, whether they are credible.
Yep. Next one, transparency of stock. Now, why is this important? I mean, in the good old days, we're talking 2-3 years ago, you have a lot of people out there trying to sell NDIS properties out there, but they won't reveal what they have because they have nothing to begin with. Or 2, they're just using it as a bait advertising. What's your experience, Ian? Do you think it's an important topic or not? I mean, you tell me.
I think it's important to understand that transparency of stock doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to provide you with a massive stock list, because they could provide you a stock list that actually doesn't exist anymore, has already been sold, and it's just a way of bringing you in. But the other side of it is, if they do have stock, are they happy to share it with you? And do they have a reason why they wouldn't recommend some parts of it to other parts of it? And so the postcodes are essential. Maybe much of their stock is in areas that now the lenders are blacklisted, and that means that they don't have much to offer. And especially if you're paying them a fee up front, do you really want to be joining with an organization, paying them a fee, then be locked into it and have no stock to choose from? And that's another common issue where people are saying, I want choice, but I'm never given a choice. I'm only offered one particular item suitable for me.
Ian, do you think people should pay an engagement fee, sign-up fee, membership fee, whatever you want to call it, to SDA businesses to do business engagement? What do you think?
Can I answer that in two different ways? If you're a business and you want to engage with people and you don't want to, you want to avoid tire kickers as it's put, then you can see an advantage in charging a fee and getting people to commit. And it's a financial fee, and it basically plays on the sunk cost fallacy. I'm in it now, might as well just continue. But I think the reality is that people have enough access to enough information, enough data available, that they don't need to be locking themselves into one provider, that they should be seeking more than one opinion, and that they can come away from this, get exactly what they want with all the credible information and data without paying a single penny in membership fee or upfront fees. It just doesn't make sense that they would actually do it. I understand the arguments behind it from a business perspective, but from a consumer's perspective, I really don't see the need to actually pay any money upfront.
Yeah. I want to correct Ian with only one word. He mentioned the word provider. I mean anyone, more so the cowboy agents, marketers, the spruikers who want to charge that 3, 4, 5 grand, customer service, sign-up fee, membership fee. Look, I'm all for providers charging their engagement fee. That's fine. Because at the end of service.
I agree with you. I'm not talking about the providers of the SDA
service
participants.
Yes.
I'm talking about the information providers that are out there selling SDA property.
Yeah, correct. So that's just want to clarify that the people we get crucified on good reviews. Now, moving on to vet someone who's talking to you on the phone. You may be wondering, well, yes, I see the need about SDA, and I hear you're an expert, you know everything, but can you really deliver? Now, Ian, the SDA world, the sector is a lot of everyone out there. Still providers, SDA providers, real estate agents, all trying to achieve the same thing, which is a built house with tenancies. And I know how hard it is to find providers to work with you to deliver participants for tenancy. Should someone be should an investor be uncomfortable or embarrassed to ask the question, how's your provider network? What kind of providers do you work with? Or do you think that's a silly question to ask?
I think it's essential to actually ask that. It's going to be a major requirement by the lenders moving forward, that you've got a comfort letter or that you've got something from the provider themselves saying, we want that property in that area and we have tenants that are interested in living in that postcode. So why wouldn't you, as a consumer looking to invest in this space, actually ask for proof that you've got a provider network, that it is credible and that they are live and anticipating demand? If you don't have that, it's a roulette. It's putting all your money on black and hoping that at the end of it, you're going to get these wonderful tenants paying your rent. And the reality is, without that provider network in place already, you are taking a massive gamble or a massive risk in this type of investment.
I want to quote a story to you, Ian. I had a video call once with a builder in Perth. A builder. I'll just say that. That's all I'll say. And I said to him, so who's your provider? And he goes, we are over here. Oh, you over here? But who owns you guys? Oh, we the builder. Oh, so the builder owns the provider. And when they said that to me, I went straight away. I turned off because there was a conflict, meaning they have this, oh yeah, we're a provider, but not really a provider. They're just really a fake provider just to give comfort to the buyer. It's okay, we're a builder and a provider. Lo and behold, they never delivered any.
So to counter that,
yes,
what do we do that others don't?
We disclose who they are.
We tell them who our providers are.
You ring me and Ian right now. I'll tell you the names of our providers we work with, providers we don't work with, and providers we think you should work with. Happy to disclose information. But you know what? You ring up anyone else out there who's similar now, but they won't disclose it. Why would they disclose information?
Well, there is a good argument. And it could just be that the providers, they don't want to deal with lots and lots of people in the public, and they want one source of content.
Yeah, but if someone said to me, which providers do you like working with? Are you supporting one? Why should I hide information?
Well, you don't have to, but you can actually say to them, they are in a position where they're too busy to actually deal with, which is true, to inquiries. However, we're happy to disclose who they are, and you will get a comfort letter from them saying they're interested in that particular property.
Look, and but all I'm saying to you is transparency is nice.
Absolutely. Being upfront.
If someone asks me a question, I'll give the answer. Well, why should I hide that? Provider A and B and C are my favourites.
Are you not afraid of actually giving away your IP?
No, because they can ring the hotline number. No one will answer anyway. They're too busy.
So in other words, what's the danger? Why is there a problem in giving away that data?
But there is no problem to me. But I'm saying to you, if you confront someone about who is your provider network and they have nothing, that's a sign to you that you're talking to the wrong SDA advisor because they're not really connected to the provider network.
Good question for you then. Do you charge a fee up front to find tenants that's mandatory to purchasing a property? Do you have a mandatory fee that you charge to clients to find tenants for them?
No. We have a procurement support service where we charge a small fee on the hourly rate to provide providers or help find participants for empty houses out there. Is that the answer to the question?
Absolutely. Is that fee anywhere near $10,000?
No, that's $75 an hour.
So this is the difference between some of our competitors. They're charging this huge amount of money up front for no real service at the end of it and no guarantee of results. And you compare that to the type of professional service that you're offering to our clients, and it's not mandatory as part of their purchase.
Yep, correct.
That's wonderful.
So moving on to data reports and whatnot. You mentioned earlier about the whole blacklisting postcode topic, and attached to that topic is the reports. Let's talk about that for a second.
So as we all know, that there are some postcodes that have been oversupplied, and whether that's oversupply forever or not doesn't matter to the investor right now, and to the lender, that's of immediate significance. And that is that they're going to be in danger of having delinquent loans and people unable to pay their mortgages because they've got no tenants. So that data report is essential, and it's now a prerequisite of getting your loan from the lender in this space. And without that, you will not get your loan approved.
Correct. Now, how is this relevant to a topic at hand today, this podcast title, which is how to be careful with your SDA advisor?
Does your SDA advisor have an in-house access to those data reports? And what are they going to charge you for those same reports?
Now, interestingly enough, Ian and I had a meeting with someone this morning in our office about a broker being charged a fee by the selling agent, right?
Did you say selling agent?
Yes.
Right.
And threatening to no longer support it because if he didn't, what's the word when you threaten someone? Extortion, right?
A little bit of extortion.
You don't pay this. You don't pay this invoice for this report for $1,000. We're going to pull business from you. Blah blah blah. Like extortion kind of situation, right? Like, and you wonder where is the report coming from? Where's the source of the reports? And if the report is coming from a broker or a selling agent, not a specialist data research service or an SDA provider, and $1,000 at that, please be aware, because I think, Ian, $1,000 is too much. What do you think?
I think $1,000 is too much because it's unnecessary to pay that much when the data is out there for much, much less. The other thing is you've got to be aware that supposing that data is in any way manipulated because of a conflict of interest, you've got to be able to determine that data has come from a third party that's independent to where you're purchasing the property or who's funding it.
I can guarantee everyone listening to this conversation right now, they probably paid $600, $700 for the report, white labeled it to their brand, the mortgage broking service, and sold it 10, 15 times over, make 15 grand out of it.
So you mean you could buy 10 different postcodes?
No, I'm saying they would have done a report for that postcode, for that one postcode, yeah?
Yes.
Postcode or suburb, yeah, whatever.
And then they charge it.
So 1,000 people times 20. They would have done, because they would have sold multiple houses in the area, right?
Of course.
They would have made 15, 20 grand, right, in revenue.
One report.
For that one $600 report. I can guarantee you that. Now, do we do that? Oh, our cost is $400. Let's I'm not here to make any money. $400 is nothing, right? Let's be honest, right? But we do that. But we don't do 20 times over in one suburb. Like it's probably once over here in Heidelberg last year. And again, right now, a year later, at Heidelberg, we just update the details of the information. So,
in other words, as and when somebody buys a property, they pay for that report. And then the updated data that comes in
Updated.
every 6 months is actually now furnished in that new report.
Right. So we do resale reports, but once or twice a year, not 10, 15 times over at the same time to make a buck out of it. No, we don't do that. Whereas these guys out there, these mortgage brokers out there and agents that do this, they're trying to squeeze every dollar out of you as possible. So be careful, everybody.
From a business perspective, I can see why they would want to make as much money as they could. But I think the danger is that you're being offered a particular suburb that they've got reports on, or that you're getting data that's out of date and maybe has been manipulated in some way in terms of the interpretation of the data.
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this podcast, come to our website, www.ndos.property/reports, and get a second report from us, just to check that their reports are not fudged for their benefit of a sale to you. So before you blow the $1,000, which you've already committed to, true, come to us and get our $400 report. Let's see if our report is backing up that data. That's my advice to you. Yeah.
And look, when you're considering that you're paying anywhere from 800 to something million, what is $450?
Yeah, exactly. Ian, I think that covers our little 15-minute session. I think it's enough for everyone to chew on and think about how to be careful when talking to an SDA consultant or advisor or spruiker, just to make sure that they are legit, that they exist, and they're here to do the right thing by you, because not everyone is here to do the right thing by you, or they may mean to do the right thing by you, but end up delivering you a inferior product in an inferior area without realizing their mistake of data, design, and desirability. Because data does change and designs do change, Ian.
Yeah. Absolutely. Got to keep up to date.
Any final words of advice from you to our listeners about being careful with engaging the right or the wrong people, please?
Absolutely. No matter how good the marketing is, it's when you get to speak to the person themselves that you'll be able to gauge whether there is credibility and whether they really have your interests at heart. And you can judge people by their entire network.
And don't fall for fancy videos online, okay? That a lot of people out there, I think a lot of people out there around Australia have fallen for a particular person's videos online in Facebook and thinking they're the bee's knees of SDA. And lo and behold, they have no license, they have no experience, they have no good intent to fill up houses. That's the thing. That's the other thing. When you talk to someone, Ian, you can hear from their voice, eyeball them in the eyes. Do they really mean to do the right thing by you? That's the old words are the eyeball test, right? Eyeball test.
Yeah, eyeball to eyeball.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, Ian, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
No, pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you are subscribed and following us so you can keep in the loop with all of our upcoming episodes. We would really appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star rating, a written review, and to share this podcast with those that could benefit. Until next time, catch you on the next episode.